All right, everyone. So you may be wondering, what the heck is this? So obviously, as the channel is growing, I decided I liked the format we did because I wanted to bring you guys really great news and I wanted to bring it to you quick. But I decided I think for our long forms, it's better if we put it all into one longer video and we show you the sources that we're even using, to talk about this content. Now, one other change we're making is that if you go to the shorts section, we're going to be doing a lot more breaking quick news there. So I want you guys to know a lot of our news that's breaking and just right coming out. You could check that out in the shorts section. And I don't know if it's going to be the night or the morning, you can see us upload this, which is our longer forms all put together. But I thought this was a much better way to do it. I think it's more, time. It's more time sensitive for us, right? It just makes it easier to put out. Also, I think it's a better viewing experience than just kind of the flat, picture we had before. But basically, before I get into all the stories, we're just trying to make this a better viewing experience for everybody. And so we're going to keep improving, keep getting better. And I think this is a really a good step in the right direction. So let's start with our first story here. This is Gunther reveals the Hall of Famer who convinced him to join WWE. So this is from Wrestling Inc. Gunther is now well established as a WWE star with 6 years under his belt at the company. However, for many years before joining the promotion, the man previously known as Walter didn't think he'd ever wrestle there. Appearing on the Ariel Helwani show, Gunther revealed he'd been contacted by William Regal prior to signing and said no twice. I never saw myself there, Gunther explained. I always thought what I have to offer is me, and that's all I got. And I'm happy to work on myself, and I'm happy to improve on myself, but in the core, it's always going to be me. And I was never interested, I don't know, portraying somebody else's fantasy. It was Paul Levesque who eventually changed Gunther's mind. Triple H presented Gunther with a plan for how he'd be presented within the company. An offer allowed Gunther to spend more time in Europe before eventually moving to the United States. The wrestler said this appealed to him as it allowed him to ensure the wrestling school he ran was in good hands. At the end, it was okay, you are a certain age, you've got to think about your future and where you can make the most money. Gunther continued, I had a lot of trust in Hunter and Hunter's vision. So I wanted to do this story because it just goes to show that what's going on with Triple H right now, what's going on with the company is not just luck. Okay, this isn't just hey, he's a lucky guy, right? He joins the company and there's a lot of talent there, and so he's riding that wave. He understands. Triple H understands how to talk to talent. Triple H understands, how to convince talent that to trust him and to trust his process. And you're already seeing with Gunther a lot of that, you know, working. I'm a little bit upset with how they booked his title run, but I think at the end they're booking it so well that it's pretty, like hey, nothing to be upset about anymore because you are booking the most important part so well. So I just love doing these stories and hearing, oh, Triple H did this for me, Triple H did, that for me because it's not something you hear all the time. Let's just be honest, you know. And that's the thing with Triple H is that he has both. Okay, he has the ability to understand from the wrestler's perspective and now from kind of the corporate perspective. He can understand both, and that's so key when you're trying to explain to somebody like Gunther or another wrestler, why you should trust them or why you should be part of the company. So I thought that was a pretty cool story. Gunther reaches new milestone. This is our second story here from WrestlingNews.co. Gunther has been on a strong run since becoming the WWE World Heavyweight Champion when he beat Damian Priest in a top match at last year's SummerSlam PLE. Now he has reached another milestone. Now he's slated to work a key match at WrestleMania 41 when he puts the title on the line against Jey Uso. On Thursday, Gunther reached the milestone of being World Heavyweight Champion for 250 days. So he's 250 days, he's been the champ. And I don't know if it's been a amazing title run. I don't blame him. I blame WWE. I don't think they've booked it perfectly. But we're seeing at the end here exactly how a Gunther title reign can be booked and booked well. He's a great heel. He's a fantastic heel. And this is the Gunther we want. We want Gunther to be, this guy that's just a dick. Okay. That's confident, but he's just a dick. And he's attacking guys. He's doing this. He's doing that. That's the Gunther we want, right? We don't want a Gunther that's not sure of himself or one that's trying to kind of be a baby face and not forget it. This is the one that we want. Gunther makes a big statement about Triple H. So this is further kind of touching on this, right? Again, from WrestlingNews.co. Obviously, he's my boss, and I'm in a very good position at the company right now. But I think to a certain degree that he saved professional wrestling to a big degree. I think because I remember when I started in 2005 and other Europeans that tried to get into WWE, there was such a mystery about it, like who to talk to and what to do. It seemed so far away, such an unrealistic point to achieve. Hunter was the one that pushed for opening the world to WWE and created so many jobs and opportunities back then for so many guys, like for us, for all the European guys. He opened the floodgates for the wrestling world outside of WWE. And since then, the change has been very positive. I think that was a big achievement, to be honest, because the business changed since then and it changed to the better. I mean, holy crap, right? I mean, more praise for Triple H. There's not much else to say beside that. I think the raw. I mean, just think about the position Triple H is in. Okay, you have the guy who built the company, the face of wrestling. Okay, for the past few decades has been Vince McMahon. Whether you hate the guy, love the guy, whatever, and he is because of scandal pushed out once, comes back, pushed out again, and this time he's out for good. So the face of wrestling, the main guy in charge, is no longer there. So what do you do from that? And I understand Triple H was still in the business and he had been doing this under Vince for a while and then he had been in control when Vince was gone, but everyone was like, yeah, Vince is still pretty much in control. But that doesn't change anything, right? Because the real pressure comes when it's like, okay, this is real now. Right now I'm really in there. And he's done just a tremendous job. And when you have someone like Gunther openly praising him like this, it goes a long way. I guess I put a lot of Gunther stories in here, huh? We got another one. Gunther's honest Jey Uso take. We're reading here from Fightful. Speaking to Ariel Helwani on the Ariel Helwani show, Gunther was asked if he was happy with his current program. I am, yes, especially the last 2 weeks were very important, said Gunther. After Helwani noted that Gunther hesitated, Gunther offered more insight into his mindset. I am happy, but it was a challenge because it was like a 10-week build. To really find something that excites you for 10 weeks in a row is hard, especially with all the other stuff going on. I think we managed it very well. The last 2 weeks, we got it en route to where it's supposed to be. It's always a little like what I want myself, what I see as the best idea. It doesn't always happen. It's not the nature of how the business works. And then you have to be mature enough to realize it's not every week. There's always a better idea for something. And at the end of the day, it's not about my personal taste and what I would like. It's about what's best for the product at this point overall. In that regard, I think we managed it very well. And going into Mania, we've set the tone very well, he said. Asked if he was surprised that Jay won the Rumble, Gunther replied, yes, I was actually at the end with Cena, but looking back at it, Cena's on his last run, and that's how you want to use him. Put him in the ring with somebody that is on his way up or is red hot in the moment. I was surprised. I didn't think Jay would be my ideal opponent for WrestleMania because we are very different, but rethinking it makes a lot of sense. And WWE right now, I'm the perfect counterpart to everybody who's on his way up and red hot and wants to achieve a certain something. I'm a good party pooper when it comes to that. At the end, I was happy he won. He deserved it. I'm glad we started a program now. So it's funny the way Gunther sets all that up because he's really talking, I think, like a lot of the fans, right? He sounds like us, which is at first we didn't understand completely the Gunther Jey Uso thing. Now, I did like him winning the Rumble. I'll say that. I loved him winning the Rumble, but I had questions about Gunther versus Jey Uso again. Is that the match they should have done? This tells you everything you need to know. Even Gunther was feeling that. But, and I think this is key, but he points out that it was the right move in the end. What they've done, and he points out the last 2 weeks, what they've done over the past, I would say, month has been phenomenal. They've built this storyline. It matters. I love it. I really, really love it. Okay, so we're getting out of some of those stories now. Scott Steiner reacts to viral Braun Breaker moment. Steiner said this on X. People talking about Braun Breaker's spear like it was perfect or even better than perfect. What the hell did you expect? He's a Steiner. The kid's a damn genetic freak, born to break backs and snapping necks. That wasn't a spear. That was a missile straight from the Steiner DNA vault. Braun Breaker, it's insane just how physical he is. It's insane how every move that guy does. I mean, remember who was it? I Show Speed that he just kind of laid out in the ring. I mean, it's crazy. He is a brick house. Nothing else really to say about that. But I just love how we have all these old WWE legends or wrestling legends. Now their kids, their whatever, their relatives are in the business and they're all involved, and it's just so awesome. It just really is cool. Okay, so now Nick Khan reveals mistake WWE wants to avoid. During an appearance at the National Association of Broadcasters event in Las Vegas on April 9th, Nick Khan was asked about the influence of social media on WWE's on-screen product, but in response, he said it would be a mistake to make business decisions based on reactions of people on those platforms. A small percentage of voices with a big microphone or a megaphone in front of them, it's a mistake to respond to your business based off of that. You've got to base it off your gut and the results. Khan added that the sports entertainment giant is trying to appeal to as many people as possible. What do people like? They like dramas, they like conflict, they like to see conflict being resolved one way or another. As Paul mentioned, in our business, you get to knock each other in a 20 by 20 ring. People like that too. So for us, we want to appeal to everybody. This tells you a little bit, I think, about what they're thinking. Now, I 100% agree, with his take on it's a fine line between listening to the fans and allowing the fans to dictate everything you do. Sometimes you people don't know what they want until you show them, right? It's kind of that thing like last year, right before WrestleMania. They were going to make this change to The Rock, and everyone in the universe was like, "We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that," and they made that clear. So they changed. That's an example of listening in a good way. But you don't want to just constantly flip flop on things because you're facing some backlash. I think the best example of that is Jey Uso winning the Rumble. You went online, there was a lot of articles about, oh, look at all the dislikes that this is getting. People are not happy about it. But then you go to every arena and the whole place is yeeting and going crazy. I think that's a good point. The other part of this is the idea of appealing to everyone. And it's weird because usually I would say that's a mistake. I'm not a believer in this idea with anything, and I'm talking, gaming or movies or any of this, where sometimes I think people try to appeal to everyone, and so they appeal to no one, right? Because you're trying to make something for everybody, and it ends up being for no one. I think wrestling is a weird exception to that because I do think there's actually a way you can appeal to everyone. And and we talked about this with them going into the Netflix era, because everyone was talking about would this become edgy again? And I thought, look, we don't want kid show. Okay, we don't want something that's so not edgy and just really terrible, right? Something like in 1996 when wrestling was, really at a low. That's kind of what it was like. It was just a full kids thing, right? Or it seemed like that. So we want real storylines, we want real characters, and a swear here and there. That doesn't mean you have to be the Attitude Era, right? It doesn't mean you have to not only put your toes on the line, but cross the line completely and just constantly make it so that there's big issues and scandals and controversy. You can find that happy medium. So I do agree in that sense. Unlike a lot of different things, I think wrestling is one of those weird pieces of entertainment that has the ability to appeal to people of all ages. And so I don't mind them saying, yeah, we're not going to do everything crazy because we want to make sure we're appealing. And we're also not going to make it too PG and it doesn't appeal to anybody else anymore. So I think it's a phenomenal way of looking at it. And then our final story is Kevin Nash is not happy with this Mania match. And this is from E-Wrestling News. On the choice to make the match a triple threat, effing horrible in my estimation. I don't want to see effing Io Sky and Bianca. I want to see Bianca and Rhea. I want to see Rhea, and I don't give an F who. She's an effing star man on why Adam Pearce should be fired. Number one, I would fire the general manager for putting Bianca as a referee and not having it be a no DQ match. That's a stipulation right there. Bianca doesn't want to wrestle Rhea. Of course, she's going to effing get involved. I mean, to put your babyface in that predicament, I don't think that's a good thing. So he's not happy with this triple threat match. Now, I don't mind it, and I also don't mind Io Sky being the champ because I do think Io should remain the champ because I always talk about this idea of okay, there's some rivalries that you need a title involved and there's some that you don't. And when I see Rhea and I see Bianca, that rivalry doesn't actually need the title involved. Those two just hate each other. So if you're building that and then after this you can have a feud between those two with Io Sky as the champion, when you have such a stacked roster, you kind of need that. Okay, you definitely need that. So from that perspective, I don't mind it quite as much as Kevin Nash is. But I'll definitely agree. If I'm looking at the best rivalries out there right now, this triple threat match is a weird fit, and I don't think it meets it because we haven't seen this enough. We really have not seen this enough. So we'll have to see. I always say give WWE some time. and we'll see. So thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll just say, I hope you like the new format. I'm already loving the new format. It allows us to do so much more. So I cannot wait to bring you more. And so we will see you next time.